Can't call me idol. 아님 어떤 다른 뭐라 해도 I don't care. I'm proud of it. 난 잘 없네. 너무 알았네. 나는 항상 나였길. 손가락질 해. 나는 전혀 신경 쓰지 않네. 나는 역할은 내야. 그 이유가 뭐든 간에 I know what I am. I know what I want. I never gon' change. I never gon' trade.
Yeah, it's definitely go, guys. Got all the food.
Yep.
The whole G too.
Yep.
We still have 12 passengers and so ready.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, we are ourselves.
Yeah, they got all cunts.
Yeah, we can't
I reckon they haven't got that much though, fuck sakes. You know what I mean? They could be doing more for their customers.
The ones that take you to that thing.
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah, that's cool, isn't it?
That's bad.
That's pretty much fun, isn't it?
I don't know.
I already got talk, huh?
They're here, Dad. What are they going to talk to? They're with Tom.
You hear the fella?
Yeah, I do.
I'm going to have to double tell the bag on it.
Yeah.
It's only right, isn't it?
Yeah.
For sure, won't it?
I don't think worry about it.
Well, what are you going to turn to divorce to?
They can't pull it out anyway.
Other window.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Bye. Hello, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you. Some through the stairs, please. Have you been to the park before?
Long time ago.
Right, so print out the tickets for today. Do you live in Victoria?
Yeah.
So once you're ready to head on out, you'll just scan each ticket here through the turnstiles. The buses are going every 15 minutes.
Oh, thank you.
Have a nice day.
You too. Ready? Oh, you go first, Dad.
Perfect, now you can sit.
Thanks. Oh, fucking hell. That's an aggressive lunch.
Huh?
That's an aggressive lunch. Oh.
Something that's good as well, mate.
Oh, that's the bus stuff.
That's a fucking problem I got with me glasses and hood on.
Alright.
So what's the bus for?
Oh, you get around doing it. Because they're very big paddocks, yeah. Good morning.
Hop on board and we'll get going.
Thank you.
Morning.
Morning.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. In the middle.
Oh, I want to. Yeah.
Welcome aboard, everyone. Can you hear me okay down the back? Because you're such a long way away down there. Welcome, my name is Leslie. Richard is our driver. Welcome to winter here at Monato Safari Park. As we do get going, we would like to acknowledge that Monato Safari Park is situated on the lands of the Nurrinjeri Nation, and we pay our respects to elders past and present. In fact, the whole district of Monato got its name from a Nurrinjeri lady that frequented the area in the mid-1800s called Monato. As we do get going, we have some bus rules. If you have a mobile phone, please just turn that down to silent whilst you're on board with us today. No eating or drinking on the buses, but water is fine. Please do keep hydrated. I do have a communal squeegee with me, so if those windows get a bit foggy, just put your hand up and I'll pass you down the squeegee. We're certainly not going to turn down the heating for you. It's a little fresh out there. Yeah, that's right. We've got a special one for the carnivores that you do outside, and we'll worry about a volunteer a bit later on. It's not going to be me. Your sister will. Lovely. Now, who's their first time visitor to the safari park today? Awesome. Well, welcome. You would have got a map book when you went through the gates. If you've already had a look at that, the abbreviated explanation is we go on a big loop around the park, and there's lots of different bus stops. And you can hop off those bus stops, explore the different areas. But rest assured, if you choose to stay on board the bus, you're not going to miss a lot of the animals. The only animals that you're not going to see from the bus are the chimpanzees and the meerkats and the yellow-footed rock wallaby. So when we get down to that particular bus stop, I'll let you know that it's coming, and you can make an assessment whether you'd like to brave the elements and head outside. We do have toilets at most of the bus stops, hand washing facilities, and our buses at the moment are moving every 15 minutes. So if you do hop off and have an explore, there's another bus not too far away. Monato Safari Park is huge. We're about 1,500 hectares. Today you see about 200 or so hectares from the bus. Lots of things going on behind the scenes. An extensive native Australian animal breeding facility here that's not open to the public. A lot of the breeding and agistment for our exotic species are out the back, as we fondly call it. That's where a lot of the romance happens, away from prying eyes and noisy buses. But we also do have our exhibition herds as well out here. Now the first bus stop is the cheetah bus stop. That's about to come up. Rest assured, we will drive through the cheetah habitat on this lovely air-conditioned bus. And we'll also see our white rhino a little bit later on a full tour. But having said that, if you're a brave soul, you are more than welcome to hop off at this bus stop and have an explore. But as I said, you're not going to miss out on anything by choosing to stay on board. Looks like we do have a couple of people to pick up, and so they'll be pretty happy to see us, I think.
I want to go see the habitat.
It's fine.
Yeah.
So bear with us while we pick
No,
up
they
these
go through the
three
habitat,
people.
so I want to stay on.
They want to stay on. Okay. What's this one?
The cheetah.
You don't want to see the cheetah?
Yeah, but they go through the habitat. They actually go through the cheetah habitat, they drive through. So go some?
It's up to them.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to drive through.
So welcome aboard. My name is Leslie and Richard is our driver, Our next bus stop is called the Outpost. This is where you will need to hop off if you want to see our meerkats and our chimpanzees. Short walk to the chimpanzees, but is out in the weather. You may decide that you stay on board for now and perhaps do another bus loop with us later this afternoon and hop off. Hopefully the weather's a little bit better. Now I can see the old windows are starting to fog up there, ladies, so feel free to share the old communal squeegee as we get going. It's a team sport here to keep our windows... That's it, stop breathing. Now, even though we are in winter, it is still pretty dry out here. We don't get a lot of rain, about 350 millimetres of rain a year. Not a lot. For those of you that came on the freeway this morning, went past Harndorf, they get something like 900 millimetres. We're actually in a rain shadow. I can guarantee it is raining a lot harder, perhaps back in Adelaide. So it's a great place to come in winter time because it is generally pretty rain-free, except for a few days of the year. We have two creek systems that naturally run through the park. We have Rocky Gully Creek system that we're about to come across in just a minute, and then Dry Creek. Now, if anyone does want that squeegee, I'll start to... anyone does want to use it, and righto, squeegee. Never thought I'd be on a bus doing a tour and passing squeegees around, but now Rocky Gully Creek left and right of us in winter time. You can't expect to have a torrent of rain here. We just simply don't have water. Might see a few free ranging emus through here. This is a really safe area for them. Dry Creek here on our left hand side, living up to its name quite well. Not a lot of water ever is seen through there. Now we have driven quite a bit. Hopefully we'll see our first animal coming up on our left hand side. Oh, you got a sneak peek at the addax. Yes, okay. Now coming up on our left hand side, scimitar horned oryx. Richard will just find the right spot to stop so we can have a look at them. These are a desert dwelling antelope, only recently classified from extinct in the wild to an endangered animal thanks to some awesome conservation efforts. Now this is our exhibition herd. There has been a bit of romance going on in there, but we have about 80 animals here on site. So very important to press that is that the animals that you see today generally aren't all of the animals that we have. We exist to save species from extinction, so we do have breeding herds off exhibit as well. Very, very important. Now these animals got their name after the scimitar sword of the local tribes people. There's beautiful horns that go right over their back, and they're quite horse-like in appearance. So if you look at one side on, quite often you only see one horn, and this animal is thought to have started the unicorn myth in some circles. That's the suggestion. Now found in the northern parts of Africa, there's a little country called Chad where there is quite a nice little herd of these animals. Whether they'll be a sustainable population, time will tell. Living on generally the outskirts of the Sahara, they never infiltrated right into the Sahara Desert, but incredibly tough anyway. So they don't start sweating until their body temperature reaches about 46 degrees. You and I are dead before then. But for these animals, they're trying to hang on to as much water in their body because it's generally a pretty scarce commodity out in the desert. So you do have a little decision to make coming up to the outpost. If you do want to have a look at those meerkats and also walk out to our chimpanzee habitat. You'll actually see the chimpanzee habitat on our left-hand side, just through the scrub there. They have an indoor rumpus room. That's what you can see there. They get spoiled rotten over there. Yellow-footed rock wallaby is just behind that rhino statue there. That is our only walk-through habitat because we know the wallabies don't want to eat you, so it's very, very safe indeed. And lots of different meerkat habitats here close to the bus. Having said that, if you want to stay on board, that's perfectly fine. Just stay on board with us. Otherwise, we might pick up a few people here, but this is the bus stop that you come back down to once you've had an explore in this area.
We're going to hop off and see your meerkats. You like meerkats?
Yeah.
No, stay on. Yeah, that's right. They're going through. Yeah, because we're right down the bottom. Yeah, we're right down the bottom anyway, so we're better off waiting. Stay on.
How long do we have to wait for that?
Well, we're here, and we're what are we up here?
Yeah, but how long do we have to stop bus go?
Oh, not long. They run every 15 minutes, so it'll be like a couple seconds.
No,
No. A new bus comes every 15 minutes, so. There.
Now we do have a communal squeegee, so during the course of the bus trip, if your windows are getting foggy, just give me a hoy. We'll try and those windows.
No, it's just false.
Okay, right, but the other. Okay. And then I'll buy you something at the shop.
No worries.
Thanks, mate.
Yours alright? See you there. What's up? You'd be used to this, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Spider-Man can do yours.
Might as well start a bus and go.
Yeah, I agree. It goes through all the main ones.
Too far, it's too wet.
Yeah, and it goes through all the
Yeah.
main stuff. It goes through all the ones I want to say anyway.
How long's that? That's all right.
I'll have a look.
Probably all be clean.
Well, welcome aboard everyone. Nice to start filling up the bus. Now for those of you that have just joined us, I'm Leslie. I'll be your volunteer tour guide. Richard is our driver, and this is our communal squeegee for the inside windows. If you do need them to be wiped down, please let us know, we'll pass it down. Because we're certainly not going to turn down the air conditioning. It is quite warm in here.
Do you want to sit here up with Gracie?
We'll just wait for everyone to be seated before the bus takes off. Yep. No worries. Alright, so did everyone venture out and see the chimps this morning? Now what were they up to? A lettuce party. That sounds all very refined. They can be super cheeky and very naughty sometimes. Oh, that would be Gombi, I reckon. He loves to hide under the sheets. One of the animals that we had to do a little bit differently for this kind of climate is the chimpanzees. They're more of a forest-dwelling animal, so being an open-range zoo, not exactly the ideal climate for an animal like that. So that's why we have that air-conditioned, climate-controlled rumpus ring for them to provide that security and safety and keep them nice and healthy. But having said that, I've seen them sitting outside in a hailstorm, collecting hail and then going inside and warming up. So it's there because we owe it to them, but whether they use it, sometimes they don't. Yellow-footed rock wallaby habitat there on our right-hand side. Some of you may have already ventured in there to have a look. So that bus stop, that new accessibility area is new. So funded by Variety SA. So we are encouraging people with all sorts of accessibility requirements. Yes. So it is very new, and so yes, something we're very proud of, and hopefully next time you'll be able to make the most of that. So we do have accessible buses that are wheelchair friendly that you're able to aboard, and to use that bus stop, basically you will wait there. Sometimes it will take a while for a bus to get there. It's not a priority queue for accessibility needed people. However, the buses that have got the wheelchair access, if they've got seats free, will be able to stop there. Regular buses won't generally stop there. It's not a normal bus stop, it's a special one to help people with accessibility needs. So excellent. Now this habitat is a pretty odd shaped, and that is by design. We don't just have big round or square habitats. It's by design. This is their home. We want to make it really interesting for our animals, so we have lots of little nooks and crannies and corners that the animals can shelter in, either from the elements or sometimes it's just from each other. They want a bit of time out. Does mean sometimes we do have to travel a little bit to see our animals, and they do move around quite a bit. Even on days like this, they will move around the different habitats. So if you do have time today, maybe think about doing another tour in the afternoon, because many of these animals you might see in a different spot the next time you come past. Oh, we've got some kangaroos as well on this side. Alright, so we're taking the left hand. We're going to see if we can find the stag in this group. Now this very big red coloured deer, guess what they're called? Red deer, that's right. Introduced into Australia as a hunting animal. They were a gift from Prince Albert back in the day. Found pretty much all over the world except Antarctica. A long way to swim. We do have the stag in this group. Quite majestic, isn't he? Now those antlers are not permanent. He dropped his last set of antlers around about Father's Day last year. Think about it. That has grown since September last year. Antler tissue is the fastest growing of any animal tissue.
Oh, wow.
At one stage his antlers could have been growing up to 2 centimetres a day. Quite extraordinary. That's right. Yep. It's the testosterone in his body that allows those antlers to grow. So essentially, he's trying to look pretty nice for the girls. And he has got quite a few lady friends there. And generally, they're not particularly impressed with him whatsoever. It is important to note that most of the animals out here are very, very well adapted to this kind of climate. Being an open range park, we want to keep as hands off as possible with these animals. And as I said, the chimps, we had to make a few little changes to their habitat. But those red deer, incredibly tough animals. You'll find them in the highlands in Scotland, where it can get incredibly cold. But they are able to survive that very, very well. In the next habitat we're about to drive through, we have two very different animals. And you might wonder why we have them together. Well, based on rock paintings found in Spain and France, which are estimated to be about 20 or 30,000 years of age, these two animals were depicted in the same pictures. So we know at one stage, when the world was a slightly different shape, as far as our continents go, that these animals lived together. Right in the corner on our left-hand side, you will see some animals that we will go past a little bit later, I reckon. Right. Okay, so I might go straight ahead, you reckon? Or, yep. Okay. Straight ahead, you will see some horses in the distance. These are called the Mongolian wild horse, or Przewalski's horse. True wild horse. Never been domesticated, never been tamed. Back in the 1970s, they were classified as extinct in the wild. These days, classified as endangered. We have a brilliant breeding program with these animals, and in fact, ourselves and the Western Plains Zoo in Dubbo released several breeding individuals back into a reservation in Mongolia back in the mid-1990s. We exist to save species from extinction, so if there is ever an opportunity for us to be part of that, we most certainly will be. Oh, we've got a couple of kangaroo right in the corner when we drive through as well. They're very safe. If they do want to go out, either the keepers can let them out or they can clear some of the fence line as well. Now the American bison in the corner there, even sitting down you can appreciate these are really big animals. Fully grown male can get up to about 1,000 kilos. If they were to stand up, around about 1.8 metres at the shoulder. Massive animal. Now that woolly coat is a great insulation in winter. If you can imagine in America they've got to deal with like snow and ice, and they're warm as toast. In summertime they don't need that winter coat, they start rubbing it off. On our left hand side you will see 3 pine posts in the ground. Those are scratching posts for our bison. Otherwise they're going to use the fence line, and our maintenance people aren't too keen about having to fix the fence line all the time. And you can see there is a little hole in the fence there. I suspect that's probably deliberately left by the keepers. The habitat here on our left hand side isn't used, but it's very important that we have lots of different spaces that we can move our animals around if we need to. And in fact, when one of our bison females gave birth to a calf, we did need to keep a closer eye on them, and we were able to bring them into this little habitat. They can still see the rest of the herd, which is really important. And when the keepers knew it was safe to return them back to the herd, they did so. Rhinos love to roll around in mud. We're coming up to our black rhino habitat here on our right hand side. We have 2 male black rhinos. They each have their own habitat, and you'll be able to see them on the right hand side coming up along the fence line.
What?
They're on the
On
right
our
hand
far
side.
left-hand side. Can anyone see him yet? He is over here in the corner, laying down.
Oh, up there. Up there, I believe.
No,
No,
not
you
yet.
do it. You do it.
Now the reason we have the black rhinos separate, we have two males. They are fiercely territorial and they will fight and they could seriously injure each other. Now these are a critically endangered animal, so we really have to pull out all the stops to keep them very safe. They are the smaller of the two African rhinos, and the two boys that we see today around about 1,200 kilos. You'll find them in the scrubbier areas of Africa. The next habitat we have here is where we have the other male, and we're just going to see if we can find him. Can you see him out there? Have a look along the tree line, along the fence line, and you can see he's up moving around a little bit. Coming towards us. Now one of the main differences between the black and the white rhinos, not only size, they are quite a lot smaller, it's actually attitude. These are a lot more aggressive, easily startled. And it's actually the shape of his mouth. Maybe if he keeps coming closer. On profile, their top lip looks a bit like this. It's a prehensile top lip. It means it wobbles around. So he prefers to have his head up all day. He uses that hook lip to grab leaves and twigs as he walks through the scrubby areas. The white rhino is a grazer, which means the head is down pretty much all day eating grass. So you'll find them in the grassier areas, the plains of Africa. Now we do have a bus stop coming up, which if anyone would like to hop off, you can walk up along the side of this habitat and actually have a better look at our black rhino. We do also have a shelter here and also a toilet. If anyone was interested in hopping off and having a look, since he is up quite active, you are more than welcome to hop off at this bus stop. Was anyone interested in hopping off at the bus stop here? It is rather nice and warm in here, isn't it? Alright, well the next time you come past here, maybe this afternoon if the weather is a little bit better, well worth having a bit of a look. Now, has everyone heard we're getting elephants? Yeah, we're a little bit excited too. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done. If you've been a visitor here before, you would have noticed we've moved our black rhinos up a bit because the habitat that had one of our black rhinos is now going to form part of the area that we're going to have our Indian elephants. And we have a huge area that has been put aside. I think you'll be quite surprised when we drive through that now, just how big that is. And we certainly need it for these beautiful animals. We're going to have different water holes for them to play in the water. Lots of areas that we can drive through, and also areas that hopefully you'll be able to hop off at a bus stop and have a viewing platform to watch these beautiful animals. So we're hoping that the first Indian elephant will be here by the end of the year, and then a gradual arrival of, we're hoping now to have 5 to start off with. And then we're going to be looking at a breeding program. Because obviously these are a family-based animal. There's a couple that aren't living their best lives, and by bringing them all together, they're going to have a fabulous time out here. But of course then when yeah, it is a little bit of a retirement village here for them.
Is there going to be experiences that we can actually like?
I have no idea, but if they are, I'm going to be the first one. The second, I'm going to camp here. I'm going to hop off the bus and just stay here. I would expect that there is going to be something, whether it is quite that interactive or not, I've got no idea. But yes, exciting times. Now we don't want on any unauthorised safaris, so Richard's just waiting for the gate to shut. These gates do get a workout, opening many, many times every day.
Usual stalls we have to get out.
Yeah. This is where the volunteer on my shirt, it doesn't work. Pretty safe in this area at the moment, but we can't go any further until that gate shuts. No zebras at the moment because we've got all of the work going on. We've relocated everyone that was in this area. So further afield we had some black buck and other antelope. They've been moved to a different area because that is also part of the exhibit for our Indian elephants. Of course, we need a lot of water. I was saying earlier, we get very little rain out here. So we do have SA water that has come to the party because to have elephants, we need a guaranteed source of water. And so they have come to the party and we are going to have some big water holes here. And we're just waiting to see what we're going to do about this gate. Okay, we're allowed to keep going. Lucky it happened in an area where we don't actually have any animals at the moment. It looks like everyone's windows are all right for now. Excellent. I reckon these rainy days are quite often the best days to come out and see our animals. They can be quite active, especially when the rain disappears. And also keep an eye on the bird life out here. If you do decide to hop out and walk on any of the walking trails, we have a fabulous assortment of birds that either call this area their home or do visit through here. Oh, another kangaroo in front of us. Moving along. I think we do actually have a breeding program for machinery out here. Every time we come past here, there's a few more outdoor equipment. So not only do we have to look at a facility to house our elephants, we also need to keep a lot of food on site for them. Keep it dry, and these animals eat a lot, so we need a whole heap of big sheds around the park. So this area here again is still part of the Indian elephant habitat. I think it's about 5 hectares, I think. So we did a fundraising drive last year, around about October I think it was, and we had $2 million we had to raise in a very small period of time so that we could guarantee the work be done for the elephants. And we had an incredibly generous offer of a donation of $1 million from a particular lady, and obviously everyone donated what they could, but she certainly made things happen very, very quickly for us. Alright, now we're headed up to the next bus stop. This is where we have the water hole. Now we do have a Tasmanian devil habitat here. Tassie devils are probably going to be quite active in this kind of weather, and we had a keeper talk at 11:30, so that's just finished not so long ago. It means that there's probably still a little bit of food out for them. So if you've never seen a Tasmanian devil, might be worth braving the elements for a couple of minutes and hopping off and having a look. Then just wait for the next bus. We will then drive through the habitat where we have some eland, ostrich, and also maybe some giraffe today. As I said, our buses are coming past every 15 minutes. That gives you time to have a bit of an explore. Otherwise, simply remain on board and we'll collect a few extra people.
Sound good.
This is where we are going. Yeah, go like that. Then go like that. Yeah. We got the southern white rhinoceros next, and the cheetah, and then the hyena, African pain dog, and lions. This is good, the bus.
Plug it off.
See everything?
Welcome aboard everyone, for those of you that have just joined us. My name is Leslie, awesome, and Richard is our driver, and this is the communal window wiper. We've got a bit of fog and condensation on the windows. We'll make sure we can get rid of that for you, because we're not going to turn down the heat. Just got a gentleman's. All good. Yep, we're all good. Every time we go through these gates, I think we could be somewhere more exotic than Monato. This is a massive habitat. And it needs to be big because we're dealing with really big land animals called the giraffe, very big birds called the ostrich, and a very big antelope called the eland. Now here on our left-hand side we have male and female ostrich. Typical in the bird world, girls don't carry a lot of colour. So it's the males that have that beautiful black and white plumage, and the females have that lovely silvery brown feathers. Now we're actually very lucky. Earlier on today, the giraffes must have had a little bit of a meeting and decided they weren't too keen on coming out this morning, but they're up and about, which is great to see. And the nyala. This is an antelope you'll see just on the other side of the boardwalk on our right hand side. Some of you that were on the platform before may have seen them. If you cast your eye under there,
We should smile.
see them.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But otherwise, this is what a roadblock looks like. So if you're ever wondering why a bus has been late, we may have been held up. So we can't honk the horn. We have to just wait for them to meander off.
This is so amazing.
Those are the ones up there.
Now have a look at the little one here on our left-hand side having a drink out of the water hole. Giraffe is Swahili for elegant. Now I think someone was having a bit of a go at us, naming them elegant when they have to bend down to drink or eat. The front legs are a little bit longer, so they have to pop them out on a very odd angle. And they certainly don't look very elegant at all when they have to do that. There's no camels out here. I would be most surprised to see one. On our left-hand side, two of our elands. And in fact, one of them is our breeding boy. He's a lot bigger, a lot darker as well, and I think that is his girlfriend of the day. So a romantic dinner for two going on there, or a lunch for two. Now in Africa, they're not considered endangered. They're farmed for their meat and also for their milk. Their milk's very special, doesn't need refrigeration for a couple of days, so it stays fresh. So very handy animal to have for places that perhaps have no access to electricity for refrigeration. And this is our feeding frenzy, giraffe style. Yeah, so that's an eland, that's just one of the females. So it's small. Now with the eland, up close you'll notice a few subtle markings. So the female that you can see here, she's got little black squares behind her front knees. Both the male and the female have got horns. They have a little black marking along the top of their spine. And they have those really twisty, dark looking horns. There still isn't a lot of grass on the ground, even though we're smack bang in winter. All of our animals have their food and water requirements provided at the park. If there is something nice on the ground, that is considered just a bonus. We don't expect them to survive on what's on the ground. A few more kangaroos that have decided to hang out here for now. They are very lucky kangaroos. And another look at our beautiful giraffe. Those little things on top of their head, they are in fact horns. The least scary set of horns that we have here at Monato. And giraffe are the only animal that are born with horns. They lay flat when they're born and pop up and attach to the skull after birth. Now if they do come up close to the window, please don't bang on the window. They can get frightened quite easy, but looks like they must be a bit more hungry this morning. They are quite inquisitive. They like to have a look at their reflection in our side mirrors. Might be lucky with this one coming up on our left hand side. Get your cameras ready. Now we do have a couple of very big bellies out here. We had a little one born on the 24th of June. Their tummies. Now the gestation period of a giraffe is very long. It's about 14 to 15 months. And they're not actually a very long-lived species out in the wild. That's a bit difficult to estimate. But in captivity, maybe about 20, 22 years. So for a big animal, it's not a long time. All right, let's see if we get a better view of these two coming up on our left-hand side. Just finishing off some browse that the keeper has hung up. This is to replicate how they eat out in the wild. Yeah, I'll tell you about those zebras in just a jiffy. When our keepers hang up some browse, you'll notice that they've hung it up so even the shortest giraffe can eat and the tallest giraffe can eat as well. And that's how they eat. It's a very good system. Everyone is able to eat off the same tree. Now because we have babies being born out here, we've got some troublemakers that normally live in this group called the plain zebra. And we've got them here on the left hand side in this habitat here. For the protection of those babies when they're being born, we keep the zebra off exhibit. They can get quite aggressive to newborns that aren't zebra. And it is a protection mechanism. Out in the wild, they think that the birth of another animal is going to get the attention of some predators. And so that's not on. So they get a bit cranky about it. So at the moment, this is our naughty corner, I guess we can call it. And they're perfectly fine in there. But when the keepers have decided it's safe to reintroduce them into this main habitat or move them elsewhere in the park, they will do so. We do have 3 in this little group, but once again, of course, more than 3 live here in the park, but these are the 3 that we see. The rest of the eland are coming up on the hillside that we're heading up to. couple of babies born over the last few months. When a eland calf is born, mum hides it in some grass away from the remaining herd, and that is a protection from any predators. Of course, they know that there's no predators here, so they will quite often be introduced into the group a lot quicker. But we have quite a creche up on our right hand side there. A lot of the land here at Monato Safari Park is reclaimed farmland. It's up on the top of the hill here on our left hand side. You'll see the Bretagne family farmhouse. Initially built by the Green family, they were the pioneers that came here. The Bretagnes took that over, and 7 people of that family lived in there up until the 1950s. Very cosy by today's standards. They had a separate kitchen and bakery. They also had a blacksmith here, a saddlery and stables. We have a couple of free-ranging emus here close to the bus on the left-hand side there. Anyone living out here had to be very self-sufficient. We also have some more ruins coming up on our right-hand side. They had a lime kiln. They cooked down that white stone, limestone. Cooking it down, it creates what's called quick lime. It's like a cement, and that is what they use to build all their stone buildings. Lots of big rainwater tanks made of stone to collect the water. We also have some old dairies and shearing shed coming up on our right hand side. If you're a keen photographer, you can get some really nice photographs from the trails here. To get to the ruins, you just need to hop off at the next bus stop, and I'll be talking about that bus stop because we have a keeper talk coming up, and looks like the weather is holding out, and you might decide that you would like to hop off at this bus stop and do the White Rhino keeper talk. That will be held in the peninsula. Well worth doing. When that keeper talk is finished, you might also decide that you'd like to do the cheetah keeper talk, which is going to be held straight after. So what that means is instead of hopping on a bus, you head up the hill. We'll have Faye or another volunteer down here to direct you in the right direction. But well worth doing both of those keeper talks while the weather is holding off. Just another great element of your visit here today, especially for the kids. I think there's some really good questions for those keepers. They love the tricky ones. Of course, we will drive past the habitat of both of these animals. If you are nice and comfortable, you're more than welcome to stay on board this bus. But for those of you that will hop off in a minute, just remember to come back down to this bus stop when you're done. If you hop on the bus stop up by the cheetahs, that means you're basically starting your tour again from the start. Rainy day play. Look at the 2 beautiful girls here. Have a look at that. They love mud. They love this weather. So you can see these girls are massive. So fully grown male could get well over 2,000 kilos. White rhinos are a little bit more sociable than the black rhinos, so the girls will tolerate each other. What they won't tolerate is a male coming into their habitat unless the girls are interested in romance, then it's okay. So that's why we have Umfana on the other side of the fence. It's for his personal protection, because those girls get pretty crotchety at him. Now I can see the keeper is there, so the keeper talk will start very shortly, but even from the bus, that is a great viewing. The keeper talk will be in the peninsula underneath that shelter there. So you just simply hop off the bus here, walk down into the middle there, wait for the keeper. There is a toilet here on site as well. Faye will be able to point you in the direction. Really recommend that you do take advantage of the keeper talks. They are spread out during the course of the day, and they're only held once during the daytime. The only exceptions is the chimps, and also the giraffes have another one this afternoon as well.
Yeah.
It is nice and warm, it's cold out there. Alright, so we actually say these are the second largest land animal behind the Indian and the African elephant. So white rhinos, very, very big indeed. Now sadly, due to the demand for rhino horn, that is their main threat, the poaching, so people can get their hands on rhino horn. The only animal that needs rhino horn is rhinos. We are part of the Australian Rhino Project. That is going to hopefully see many wild caught rhinos come and live here as an insurance population. Now you're never going to get any closer than this to a white rhino safely. Now you can see that big shoulder hump behind their neck. That is a big powerhouse of muscle and tendon. Their head is down a lot of the time, so they need that big muscle to help move that head up and down. Essentially hairless. They have a tiny bit of hair on their ears and also on their tail. Although this one, she's only got a tiny, tiny bit of hair. He's magnificent, isn't he, Umfana? Oh, they love to roll around in mud. Big fans of the mud wallow. Now their eyesight isn't great, it's a little bit better than the black rhinos, but the hearing is very good. You'll see those ears moving around all the time, listening. Oh, the keeper's just turned up, put a little bit of food here for us to enjoy. That's nice of him, awesome. It is. They can eat about 30 kilograms of food a day. Now they're not particularly white, and the black rhinos are not particularly black. Oh, we've got a bus behind us, we'll have to keep moving. The main difference between the black and the white rhino, not only size and attitude, is the shape of their mouth. The black rhino had that really pointy top lip. White rhinos have got a very wide mouth, a bit like a vacuum cleaner, because they're eating grass all day. They've got really muscular lips to grab that grass out. The Afrikaner term for wide, as in a wide mouth, sounds a bit like white. So some bright sparks said, let's call these ones white rhinos, and we'll call the other ones black rhinos, and we know which African rhino we're talking about. Simple as that. Next habitat we're driving through is the cheetah habitat. Cheetahs are a vulnerable species. Many years ago they were the victim of the fashion fur trade. Thankfully we've sort of changed our views of that over time. But these days the exotic pet trade really does have a huge impact. These animals do not do very well in captivity, and generally the cubs are in terrible state if they are seized by the authorities. Have a look on our right hand side. We do have one of our females doing a bit of a reconnaissance along the side of the fence line. We have two in the main, two in the viewing platform, and I'm not sure, I think mum and cubs in the other one. So the elephant habitat, that was that big area that's under construction near the black rhinos. If you haven't been on the bus, you'll have missed that, but if you do another bus trip today, you'll catch that area. You'll see some bison, Mongolian wild horse, and some black rhinos. If you're into trying to do another walking trail this afternoon, oh, you've done enough? Okay, I love coming out here to do the trails. Okay, we do have the two females here. Now they've either seen something interesting in the bushes like a rabbit or kangaroo, or there is a small child somewhere that looks rather tasty, but in fact they have exceptional eyesight. They can see up to 5 kilometres away. So there could be someone on a walking trail, or maybe something a little bit closer. It's hard to know.
Oh, yeah.
Fear of missing out is big with cheetahs. Now we call them big cats, but as you can see, they're not very. They're actually very slender. It's all about the aerodynamics. So what do we feed? It's a really good question. We don't live feed any of our carnivores. That is considered cruel and unethical. All of our carnivores get different choice cuts of meat during the week. We do have a couple of days where they get minimal food, and that is just to replicate how they eat out in the wild. With cheetahs, that very long tail they use like a rudder, so they can flip that tail and change direction mid-stride. If they're chasing a little antelope that zigs and zags, well, the cheetah has to really zig and zag as well. Very small head, enlarged nostrils to suck in lots of oxygen as they run, semi-retractable claws to help give them grip in the ground. The Olympic athlete, they are a sprinter. They get very close to their prey before letting out a huge burst of speed. One was recorded at 127 kilometres an hour in South Africa, but they can only keep that up for a few hundred metres, but that's generally all they need. The next habitat we're going to go past is where the keeper talk will be held in a little bit. And we have two males in this habitat. Males are actually a lot more sociable. They'll live in a group called a coalition. Generally females, as they reach adulthood, they get to an age where they prefer to live by themselves. They're generally a solitary creature. So this facility that we have here, we do rotate our various cheetahs through the different habitats that are visible from the general public, but our main area is actually in the Murray Mallee Scrub. You might see a few buildings at the back there. That is where we have our breeding facility. Haven't seen any cheetahs yet. Right in the corner. They must know that lunch isn't too far away. So if you have a look up against the fence line in the corner here, you will see some movement. I suspect there's a keeper there, and they're quite interested in what's going on. Really well camouflaged when they're sitting down in particular. Head up to see our next lot of cheetahs that are very close to the fence line. We'll be able to see them very close indeed. And as you can see, the animals aren't particularly fussed by the weather, very, very active, even though that's not much fun for us.
Granny wants that straight to that.
Ah, ja. Hidden.
If you have a look at the tips of their tail, it's stripy. Every stripe pattern is unique to that particular cheetah. And in fact, that is one way that the keepers can identify the cheetahs quickly, is looking at the stripe pattern on each individual animal. On the other side of the fence is a very safe haven to lots of species that call this area their home. That's why we have a few extra gates. We don't want to let out the world's fastest land animal, because I can tell you the emu and kangaroo on the other side of the fence wouldn't be particularly happy. I dare say the cheetahs would have a fantastic time, but I'm not sure how we would then catch them and bring them back in. There is our visitor centre straight ahead, so we've done pretty much just a big loop around the park. And we're now going to head up to the place that we call Windana, and this is where we have the rest of our carnivores. So our spotted hyena, the African painted dog, and of course the African lion. Then we head back to the visitor centre. Now if you want to get a tiny walk in, you can choose to walk from Windana back to the visitor centre. It's about 800 metres.
You want to do that?
No, sure.
Beg your pardon? No. stay on board. How about that? You've done a lot for some.
Huh?
It goes straight on the side.
Yeah, stand up. Then we go home. And then we know what to do next time.
Yeah, exactly.
And the fuels and that.
That's right.
That's so frustrating, man. Too much.
Yeah, I know.
I need to get a proper handle for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to get a proper handle for the phone and all this stuff.
Yeah.
They got them, because I know J-Hope uses them.
Yeah, that's right.
Say something else. I don't think it's right to have to just listen to Bex's music.
Yeah. Yeah, I know she's not.
To buy or to do a concert or anything like to support. That's like kind of like BTS.
Yeah.
This area we fondly call the Serengeti. You can see that there's a lot of kangaroo through here, particularly young ones as well. And we do have a few artificial water holes here to provide water for them. Yep. Because they're captive in this area, we do have to provide that for them. Very hot out here in the summer. I've lost count. There is a lot. I think, well, we definitely have the biggest herd of giraffe in Australasia. Not sure how we compare to other parks. But we've been very lucky with the birth rate. Now, just a reminder to remain seated while the bus is moving. These animals love to hunt buses. We've lost number plates, mud flaps, strips along the side of the buses, you name it, they've probably tried to pull it off. So whilst we will stop for photograph opportunities if we can, if Richard thinks he's going to lose a piece of his bus, he will take off. So just keep that in mind. If the animals get close to the windows, please don't use flash photography or bang on the windows. Rest assured they know you're in here. They look at buses and go Meals on Wheels every time. So it is a no-brainer why we have a few extra gates to go through here. We certainly want to keep these animals in check. Now, thanks to the Lion King, some people think the spotted hyena is this mean, awful creature. Highly intelligent, smartest animal here besides the chimpanzee. Also very good hunters in their own right, better than lions. But because they have an incredibly powerful bite, they can actually get a piece of bone, pulverise it between their jaws and eat the nutritious marrow inside. On the left-hand side in this small habitat today, we have the African painted dog. You can see the pack there coming along the side of the fence line. This is the most endangered of all of the African carnivores, and also the most successful of all of the hunters. On the other side of the fence line, one of our juvenile spotted hyena. Interesting body shape, isn't it? Their closest relative here at the park is actually the meerkat. They were part of the mongoose family many years ago. Both of these animals incredibly athletic, able to run at about 40 or so kilometres an hour. If you see these animals, you'd want to run up a tree pretty quick and hope there's not a leopard up there waiting for you. The African painted dog, unique coat pattern, but everyone has a white tip on their tail. They have a beautiful social structure. They have an alpha male and an alpha female. They breed, but they use the injured and the elderly as babysitters in the den. Other animals, if you get injured, you're seen as a liability and they leave you behind. And you may have noticed we have a fellow there who only has 3 legs. So he had a medical issue and the vets determined that he would need to lose his leg. Now the vets knew that he would not be treated any differently in the pack because of the way nature intended them to live. So he was treated fine. He's actually the alpha male, so he can keep up with everyone just on 3 legs. Probably a kangaroo on the other side of the fence, I bet. Yeah. I think the kangaroos know that they're very safe. They get very close to that fence line. Couple more spotted hyena over on our far left-hand side. The nighttime facility and breeding quarters is out in the Murray-Mully scrub there. They're keeping an eye. We do have another clan that is separate to the group that you see out here today. Spotted hyenas, they have a matriarchal society, so they have an alpha female. Females are generally about 10 to 15% bigger than the males. They have a lot of testosterone in their body regardless. When they're ready to breed, they will pick out the most subservient male they can because they're going to boss him around a lot. Female cubs are asserting their authority from the get-go, quite aggressive. They're born with a full set of teeth, but mum does nurse them for quite an extended period of time. So in many reasons, spotted hyena are an incredibly tough animal. We rotate both of those species through these 2 habitats. As I said, the spotted hyena has got an incredibly powerful jaw, so they can make a meal out of carcass and bones that other animals leave behind. So you can imagine that the African painted dogs today will leave a lot of bones behind after their lunch and dinner, and by bringing in the hyena tomorrow into that same area, hyena will clean it all up. And that's actually what they do out in the wild. That is their purpose, to tidy up after everyone. It's a really important part of the ecosystem out in the wild. Okay, now hopefully it hasn't changed since this morning, but I believe we have the pride out. Having captive African lions is a challenge. There's always something going on. There's always someone that's got an issue with someone else. So on occasions we don't have the entire pride out, and the gate has decided that it's not moving for us. Now we don't ask for volunteers here. It is a bit risky, so we'll get in touch with one of the keepers probably. We actually have keepers on board at this facility at all times. It's very much a safety issue, and we actually have to get permission every time we want to drive through these habitats. Well, all of these are on a special mechanism, so one gate won't open until another gate is shut, but of course if that gets all mixed up, we'll just wait. Now, who has been to Adelaide Zoo recently? Well, the habitat we're about to drive into, you could actually fit Adelaide Zoo in. That is how big the lion habitat is. Massive area. Yes, eventually, once the gates open. So we'll just wait and have to wait for someone to come and sort the gates out, because I don't think any other buses are going to be able to come in while we're here. So occasionally we have all of the females, the lionesses, out together. Sometimes we'll have our 3 big male lions out together. It sounds like we've got everyone out. But sometimes we have things like birth of cubs. We had to remove mum, give her some time alone with her cubs. And as the cubs have been reintroduced into the pride, we've had to take that very, very slowly. Of course, out in the wild, these animals sort it out, but out in a captive environment, a little bit more of a challenge. So out in the wild, you'll generally have a dominant male. He is the leader of the pride. You might have other adult lions in that group, but he will be the dominant one. You'll have a group or harem of adult lionesses, the girlfriends, and then ranked under them are the juveniles and the cubs. In the wild, that dominant male, he might be leader for maybe about 4 to 5 years before typically there's going to be a fairly serious challenge from another younger lion who's decided that he'd like to take over the pride. So in that case, there is a big cat fight, literally, between the two male lions. Sometimes that results in injury, sometimes even death due to the types of injuries that these animals inflict on each other. As we go in, we will see with our pride, hopefully. Cubs will hang out with mum and aunties mostly. They're like us at barbecues. The guys go one way, girls go the other way. Generally not a huge amount of mingling unless there's romance. But in the wild, cubs have a very high mortality rate. And the reason for that is if there is a new male who's taken over the pride, he actually will get rid of the cubs. Now the reason he does that is because that brings all of the females into season very quickly. He can breed with them, and then it is his genetics that start flowing through his pride. So there's always an angle with Mother Nature. But sadly, about 80% of lion cubs don't reach their second birthday due to that, but also starvation. When things are really tough, the cubs are the last ones to get a meal. So life is very, very tough. Then we put the trophy hunting in there as well. These animals are also sometimes persecuted by farmers who are just trying to etch out a survival in a pretty harsh land. And these animals will sometimes sneak in to get a quick and easy meal. The human encroachment into areas that used to be their territories made a big impact on all of the animals that you see here today. But of course our lions know that life is pretty good. We have a nighttime quarters that we'll see in a little bit where we put them to bed, and we also have large areas. Oh, one of our spotted hyenas coming up behind us, so hopefully that gate is well and truly shut, because they don't miss a beat. If anything is unusual, these animals know very, very quickly that something a little bit unusual is happening. As long as the door stays shut, we're fine. No, that's the whole idea, is that we're in a very safe area, because if we did come through here, the gate's shut, one of the animals did sneak in here, obviously you can identify that, and that gate still is shut, and the next gate is shut, and that's when the keepers would get involved pretty quickly. Generally, a little bit of food does wonders and catches the attention of all of these particular animals. But looks like lunch is delayed a bit, Richard. We can sing a song. I'm not going. Might actually get people wanting to get off the bus if I start. Yeah, that's it. There is a raceway that actually connects that habitat that we're in into the habitat we've got here. And for a while, what the keepers did was they would put the lions to bed, and then they would let the either the African painted dogs or the hyena go through and actually scent mark in the lion habitat. So that keeps our animals really engaged. Hooray! Oh, hooray! So we do like to keep our animals interested using different techniques. That all was fine until the hyenas found the septic. And you can imagine hyenas and septic, not pretty. So I don't think they get that treat anymore. Very nicely done, keeper. lionesses do pretty much all the hunting, but they don't get to eat first. They actually have to allow the adult males to eat first, then the girls do, and then the cubs can get whatever's left. When we saw the cheetahs earlier on, I forgot to say, cheetahs are pretty small, about 45 to 50 kilos on average. The lionesses that we see are about 140 kilos. Cheetahs designed for speed, and that's it, whereas lions is all about power, speed and aggression. The fully grown males that I hope we'll see today are over 220 kilos. These are big cats. But it is like going on safari. Keep your eyes peeled. We haven't been through here today. Now the Lions 360 cage there on our right hand side, that's part of another behind the scenes experience where you can pay a little bit of extra money. We put you in the cage and then the lions come and check you out. That's how it's supposed to work. Occasionally they decide that you don't look particularly interesting. But if anyone's got a cat at home, you know what I mean when I say cats do what they like when they like. Lions are no different, just a lot bigger than the cat we have at home. My eyes always play tricks. I'm seeing lions everywhere. It's probably just shrubbery, but now this is our nighttime quarters, but we also have our pride of lions straight ahead of us.
Change seats.
Well, I can't see the boys, but as I said, they are quite often separate to the girls anyway. Now there is a keeper over there. That's what has got their attention. Looks like we do have one lion that has been separated. Could be a whole bunch of reasons. You can see we have our cubs in this group here. Now the younger ones have got little spots on their tummy and on their lower legs. As they get older they will start to lose those spots, but sometimes they carry a couple of spots with them. They're very interested in what's going on over there. They'll get fed later on today, but with the keeper over there, they're just very interested in what's going on. Never a dull moment. Keepers don't have any hands on with these animals. They are incredibly wild. So it's all through the fence line. Typical lion pose there. Lying around, that's right. That's true. Now we are in a high fire danger area, and you can imagine, what do you do with a bunch of lions if we are threatened by fire? Well, this nighttime quarters has a very extensive sprinkler system, so we can get all of our animals off exhibit very quickly into this area, which is protected by a sprinkler system. And very similar to some of the other areas like our rhinos as well, because there's no way we can get them off site in an emergency. Well, our lions have actually been trained to respond to a particular command. So if you can imagine, perhaps our bus breaks down, we need to get another bus in here quick smart, but it's going to take us a couple of minutes. I don't volunteer to go out and distract the animals. But the keeper can get them off exhibit in under 2 minutes, I think it is. Very, very important. And I don't know if the males are out or whether or not maybe they've taken them in. That could be what some of the movement has been about, but you never know. Were they? Okay. But if you do decide to do another bus trip with us later on this afternoon, keepers might swap the animals around. You might actually see some different animals out here as far as the lions go. Now there is a keeper talk up on the viewing platform at 2:40. If you happen to still be in the park, perhaps you're at the visitor centre, just remember it's only about 800-metre walk from the visitor centre out to this area. You don't need a bus to get you here. Well worth coming out and seeing that keeper talk, which will involve the lions and also the spotted hyena. There's a lot going on, including Wild Africa, and this is going to be the largest safari outside of Africa. If you look behind us up on the hill, you'll see the 5-star accommodation that's there. It has hit the news, so Jerry Ryan, who has funded that, I think he's popped it up for sale. So if you've got an odd, I don't know, 50, 60 million or 40 million, and you'd like to buy a hotel, highly recommend it. But we hope that that will be open by the end of this year. You'll be able to go on open-sided safari vehicles, not like a bus like this, a bit more intimate, and drive through different habitats, which will include seeing our 2 hippos. We have 2 hippos at the moment. We do hope to have more. They're in their water holes, driving through herds of different antelope and giraffe and deer, rhinos as well. We will have cheetah out there, possibly lions down the track as well. So it's going to be an amazing experience. You'll be able to do night or evening tours as well. So watching these animals come down to a water hole to drink, which is an amazing experience. Have sundowners like you would out on safari in Africa, just a little bit cheaper, and the travelling is not so intense. So watch this space, but it's something that we are super excited to see occurring out here. It's been part of the master plan for a very, very long time. Now the wheel wash here is very important. It is simply a precaution. Sometimes lions carry a virus, perfectly fine for lions, doesn't make them sick. As far as I know, our lions do not have it, but the risk is very great. If we picked up this virus on our tyres, if we drove through the cheetah habitat, we can actually make cheetahs quite sick. They're very susceptible to lots of disease because they're quite inbred. Back in the Ice Age, their numbers plummeted. So genetic diversity is not a great thing amongst the cheetah population. Did anyone want to hop off here at all? Given that the animals aren't real close to the viewing platform. No worries, we'll overtake Vicky. No? Thought it might have been Vicky. Alright, so back to the visitor centre. When you hop off, you're going to walk past an art installation. The artist is our head vet. He's a fantastic artist. He's depicted every single animal that calls this park their home, and he has rated it in speed. It is called The Great Race, and you can also buy his artwork back at the visitor centre. Now there is a little building in the middle of the visitor centre that is called the Information Hut. We have a suggestion box at the Information Hut. If there's something that we've done well today, or maybe something that we can do better, or maybe you've got a suggestion of your own, feel free to provide that feedback to management before you leave us today. If you do have time, I certainly do recommend you do another bus trip with us this afternoon. Maybe have some lunch, enjoy a nice hot coffee. We also have a upstairs room in the visitor centre where we have a little area that explains how Monato came to be. Well worth having a look up there, and a really nice platform. I'd like to see an outdoor bar, but I've popped that in my suggestion box, but nobody's taken that on board, but there you go. But on behalf of myself, Susie and Richard, thank you so much for staying on board with us. We do hope you've enjoyed the trip. The animals have been pretty good with our viewing today. If you haven't seen the chimpanzees, there's still plenty of time to do that. They're open until 3 o'clock this afternoon. Just get another bus. That will take you through down to the outpost. It is the second bus stop from the visitor centre. Hop off there, explore the area. You'll see the yellow-footed rock wallaby, meerkats and the chimps. But you won't see them from the bus. So there you go, maybe do a bus trip this afternoon. Couple of nice little walking trails in the vicinity as well. So if you do choose to hang around today, we might see you on another bus this afternoon, doing a few laps today. But we do hope you've enjoyed your day today. Thank you very much.
See you later. See you later. My pleasure.
Bye.
Go and see where they are. If anyone can.
That was grass.
Who's the king, who's the boss 다 알잖아 내 이름 이만상 새끼들 강장 놈의 목을 쳐 Everywhere 이젠 네 슈에 Flashy 떠들 때 안전한 도착의 축복을 담을게 God bless 그때 나를 다시 기억해 빠른 선택걸어 anywhere J in the air 가는 길이 희망이 되고자 하연하고 태어 Even my one was made of your love in your face 보다 보 high 저 멀리서라도 나비가 돼 Just walk lightly whenever you want Go on hopefully wherever you walk 누군가의 숨이 깃들여 있는 거리 내 영혼과 영원을 담을게 everywhere Every time I walk